Hello, friends. This is Mac Payne here, owner and operator and founder of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. That is where we bring you news about the Vietnam War and the brave veterans who served there, as told to you by yours truly, a Vietnam veteran. In this short video, I have big news for you. I have just published a new episode on the podcast. This one is number 3224. It has a very important message for not only all Vietnam veterans in this country, but also every American in this country who values their privilege of being able to live in this country and to enjoy its freedoms. There's a big event coming up soon on March the 29th, which is Sunday. That day is when we celebrate Vietnam War Veterans Day. That's where we remember all of our Vietnam veterans and show our appreciation for our service in that country. And they definitely deserve our appreciation because it was no walk in the park over there in Vietnam. Many of these Vietnam veterans encountered some tough situations where they were involved in the mud and the blood and everything. Yet they stood tall and they stood strong and they served our country well. I believe that the vast majority of Vietnam veterans continued serving their countries well when they came home, because after a year or two in Vietnam, those young men were older, wiser, stronger, and better able to deal with adversities than their non-Vietnam veteran contemporaries. That's why I often say that the Vietnam veteran generation is as great as any that ever heeded the call of duty from our country. It is just a big shame they did not receive the gratitude and recognition they deserved when they came home. But there were a few factors back in those days that sort of changed things, because the Vietnam War, we got to admit, was a different type of war. One big reason they didn't have homecoming parades for the Vietnam veterans is because when we came home in onesies and twosies, one here, one there. And it's pretty hard to organize a parade for one or two people. My son was in the Army for the Iraq Wars and Afghanistan. He served with the 173rd Airborne Brigade in both of them. It was different back then. Rather than individuals going over and joining a unit, my son went over with his entire unit. And then when they came home, the entire unit came home together. So you had the camaraderie and the support of a group of people you had worked with. It was a lot different. It was easy to have parades for units when they came home together. You know, when you have 300, 400, 500 troops coming in together, it's a lot easier to set up a parade and a welcome home event for a large group like that, rather than trying to do something for one or two at a time that came home. But that's no big deal. That's the way things were, and we just have to deal with it. Now was a time where everybody can make up for those times and show their respect and gratitude to all your Vietnam veterans. Most places across the country, as you will see in this story that I'm sharing with you on that podcast episode, they have events everywhere to remember their Vietnam veterans and welcome them home. So look around and you'll probably find some. The story was submitted by Dallas Green, who writes for the Angel Blog website. Not only did she describe the March the 29th event and the things that we're going to do, she also described what led up to it. She describes about how it got started back in 2012. President Barack Obama himself declared the day to be a national day of recognition. Speaking as a Vietnam veteran, I'm glad he did it. And now you can go over and listen to Dallas Green's story about the upcoming Vietnam War Veterans Day. She did a real good job on that story, and when you hear it, I think you'll agree. I've also made it quite easy for you to locate that podcast episode. All you've got to do is go directly down below this 1965 vintage Philco TV set and click on the link to the Vietnam Veteran News podcast. That is VietnamVeteranNews.com. That link will take you straight to the website and straight to the podcast episode, and you can be listening to it in no time. I highly encourage you to go listen to it, and I also highly encourage you to share it with everybody you know, not just Vietnam veterans, but everybody. Everybody in this country has something at stake in this situation. So let's do it. Let's get out and have a big celebration for Vietnam War Veterans Day. You do it, you'll make some veterans happy, and you'll feel better yourself. I know that. Matter of fact, I'll guarantee it. So don't delay. As soon as this short video is over, scroll down to the details and click on that link. If for some reason you have a problem locating the link on your device you're watching this video on, no worries. All you've got to do is go to VietnamVeteranNews.com. That'll take you straight to the website and straight to that podcast episode number 3224. So you can listen and find out more about Vietnam War Veterans Day. I feel like we all have a duty to do that. So let's do it. That is my message to you. Go down and listen to podcast episode 3224 and discover more about Vietnam War Veterans Day. We have a duty to do that, in my humble opinion. So you have your marching orders. As soon as this video is over, go down, click on that link, and listen to the podcast episode about Vietnam War Veterans Day. You'll be glad you did, and I feel it's a duty we should all observe. So with that, I will close out this short video here. Thank you for listening, and please go over to the podcast and listen to episode 3224 about Vietnam War Veterans Day. You will be glad you did. So do that. You'll make this old Vietnam veteran happy. With that, I say we'll talk soon.